Nyojong and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I have two stories, two short horror stories to tell to you guys. I must say, while I was writing these two stories, I got chills writing these two stories. So that might indicate that these two stories are very creepy and scary, or it might just be me. Maybe after you guys listen to it, you guys don't think it's creepy at all. But anyways, as the title suggests, this these two stories are centered around a rope. So I hope you guys will enjoy. The first story, the rope. My friend came home from his hunting trip and brought back a rope he found while hunting. The rope was one of those brown, thick rope that people like to turn into a noose. A noose is basically a rope people use to hang themselves or others with. My friend claimed that he stumbled upon the rope while hiking through the woods. At first, he was startled when he saw the rope lying on the ground. The rope was, in a way, blocking his path. He picked up the rope thinking that he was going to just toss it away. However, once he was holding the rope in his hands, a thought occurred to him that he should keep the rope. So he changed his mind and decided to keep the rope. After all, he said, the rope felt new and he could use the rope to help him with many things. So he stuffed the rope into his backpack and brought it home with him. The night that my friend got home, he invited me over to his house. He wanted to show off the deer that he killed. So I went over to his house. There were other friends that came to his house as well. It was pretty much a barbecue event in my friend's backyard. We were drinking alcohol and eating meat, just having a fun time. Around midnight, that was when something scary happened. Us men were outside in the backyard eating and drinking. My friend's wife was inside the house, in the kitchen. She was washing the dishes, and then all of a sudden, in her peripheral view, she saw what seemed to be a woman dressed in a white gown covered in dirt walked past her into the living room. She was confused because she didn't remember any women coming over. When us men came, we came by ourselves and didn't bring our wives or girlfriends with us. After she finished washing the dishes, she decided to go check the living room. She thought maybe the woman she saw was a wife or a girlfriend to one of the men. However, when she got to the living room, she only saw her children playing in the living room. Her two children were still very young. Her oldest child was like 7 years old, and the youngest one was like 5 years old. She saw that they were playing with a rope that was turned into a noose. This freaked her out, so she asked her children where they got the rope from. Her oldest child replied that a woman dressed in white gave it to them. This spooked her even more. She continued and asked who the woman was. Her oldest child looked around the room for a second, then pointed to the corner of the room and said, "That woman there." My friend's wife turned to look at the corner where the woman dressed in white supposedly was, but didn't see anyone. It was at this moment that she completely freaked out. She grabbed the rope and came running out to the backyard. All the men were confused when we saw our friend's wife came running out holding a noose. She held out the noose and asked her husband in an angry voice, "What is this?" Her husband was confused but said, "That's a rope." She continued in an angry voice, "It's a freaking noose. The children were playing with it. They said a woman dressed in white gave it to them. But there are no other women inside the house besides me. My friend got up from sitting and took the rope out of his wife's hand and looked at it closer. After a few seconds of examining the rope, my friend said, "Oh, this was the rope I brought back with me. I put it in my backpack. Maybe the children were naughty and took it out of my backpack to play with it." "You brought back a freaking noose?" His wife yelled at him angrily. My friend answered back, "It's just a rope. Maybe the children tied it up like this. They probably didn't know what they were doing." "You think our children know how to tie a rope like this?" yelled his wife. My friend became silent and simply didn't know what to say back. His wife continued saying, "I think you brought back a ghost. You better go inside the house and check on the children because I'm too scared to go back in there. And throw that rope away. Don't bring it back inside the house." After being silent for a few seconds, my friend handed me the rope and told me to go toss it away. He got up and walked inside the house to check on his children. Now, I didn't think much of the rope. Honestly, I was more scared of my friend and his wife arguing. I was just hoping they didn't get into a fight. Thankfully, their little spurt of arguing didn't escalate into something more. Fortunately, my friend didn't find any ghosts in his house when he went inside to check on his children. Now, I don't know if what my friend's wife and children saw was real or not, but it did sound scary. Now, about the rope. After the barbecue event ended, which was soon following the little arguments my friend had with his wife, I agreed to take the rope and toss it away. The rope did feel new, like my friend said. However, it was covered in dirt, like it was used. I don't know what the rope was used for, but I guess we could assume that some woman somewhere used it to hang herself. When I had the rope in my car, I did get a strange feeling like someone was sitting in the car with me, but I never saw anyone. So I locked out, I guess. Also, I did toss the rope away, but I won't tell you guys where I tossed the rope. Hopefully, no one picks it up if they see it, especially when they're out hunting. Story 2. The Rope 2. My name is Chris, and I've got a scary story to tell. I'd like to preface by saying that I don't believe in ghosts or the paranormal. I say that because I know a lot of Hmong people at my workplace, and over the years have become friends with some of them. The Hmong people have a strong belief in paranormal or spiritual things. My Hmong coworkers would often tell me scary stories that they've experienced. The stories they would tell me are scary, I won't lie, but I never believed the stories to be true. Yes, some stories sound more truthful than others, but I guess I am what people call a skeptic. I just never believed it, I guess. Never had any reasons to. However, I did have a scary experience recently. It had to do with a rope. This rope was a noose. I stumbled upon it while I went fishing. I often go fishing at this one fishing spot all the time. I am very familiar with this fishing spot, so when I saw the rope, it startled me. I've never seen people leave their stuff behind at this fishing spot before. Needless to say, I was very surprised to see a noose. Also, I am old enough to understand what a noose was used for. After I picked up the rope, I couldn't help but search the area. In my head, I was thinking, what if someone committed suicide here? I was, in a way, expecting to find a body or at least signs of someone being here. After searching the area for about 5 minutes, I gave up. I was relieved to not find a dead body, but was also troubled because there was the rope that I found. I wanted to just toss the rope away, but thought that what if the person came back and found the rope and hang him or herself this time? I thought I could potentially save someone's life if I brought the rope home with me. That was exactly what I did. I didn't fish like I planned. I just turned around and brought the rope home. When I got home, I showed the rope to my wife and told her about it. In short, she was glad I brought the rope back. She agreed that I could potentially save someone's life by bringing the rope home with me. That night, I put the rope inside my toolbox, which was outside in my garage. Now, here is my scary experience, or maybe I should say nightmare. My wife and I were sleeping in our bedroom like usual. In my house, it is just me and my wife that live here. Our children are all adults and moved out long ago. Around midnight, I heard a knocking at my bedroom door. I thought maybe it was my wife. Maybe she went out to use the bathroom and locked herself out of our room. I started to get up to open the door, but I noticed my wife was sleeping next to me. I thought, how strange. If my wife was sleeping next to me in the bed, who could be the one knocking on the bedroom door? Then the knocking continued. At this point, I'll be honest, I was scared. However, I didn't think it was anything paranormal. I was scared because I thought it could be a thief that broke into my house. So, quietly, I reached over to my wife and shook her, trying to wake her up. All the while, I kept my eyes on the door in case whoever was knocking decided to barge in. Then I heard my wife's voice calling my name. Chris, Chris, open the door. Chris, Chris. What the fuck? I thought. I turned to look at the woman sleeping next to me. It wasn't my wife. It was a dead body of a woman dressed in a white gown covered in dirt. I was frozen, terrified at the sight. I woke up from my nightmare screaming and crying, which woke my wife up. Initially, she was mad that I woke her up from her sleep, but she was concerned about my well being. I did not go to sleep that night. Thankfully, it was a weekend too. Neither my wife nor I believe in ghosts. However, we both agreed that the rope got to go. The very next day, we took the rope and threw it away in a dumpster. I called one of my Hmong friends and told him about my nightmare. He was laughing and told me that there are such things as ghosts. Again, I don't believe it, but cursed or possessed items? Maybe. Thanks for listening to my story. Like I said, this was the scariest experience or nightmare I've ever experienced. Fortunately, ever since I got rid of the rope, I haven't experienced anything scary since. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoy these two stories. And if you do, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, let me know down in the comment section below if you guys find these two stories creepy like I did when I was writing them. Also, stay tuned for part three. Yes, there will be a part three to explain the rope. So stay tuned for that. All right. All right, you guys have a good night, have a good day, have a good evening, and stay safe out there. And tune in again. All right, bye bye.